Hi, welcome to another video. I want to show off a really cool project that I'm super proud of and how I automated Terra raids in the latest Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. But before we talk about that, I got to give a little background. I'm obsessed with shiny Pokemon. I have been hunting them for a very long time, and as you can see from my slightly over-engineered spreadsheet, I have 100% of them except in the latest generation, which is part of the motivation for doing this. Now, in order to get shiny Pokemon, normally they're really rare in the wild. However, there are some ways to increase their odds. In Scarlet and Violet, they added this special sandwiches. This is, again, slightly minor spoilers. They added special sandwiches, and one of the sandwiches is Sparkling Power, which increases the chances of finding shiny Pokemon. Now, in order to make Shining Power, you need these herba mystica, which are a special item that you can get in the game. And unfortunately, the only way to get herba mystica is to do high star raid battles. Now, raid battles are also a newish feature in this game called Tera raids, and they're fairly complicated. You have to beat a Pokemon, you have some partners, etc., etc. They have inflated HP and some other mechanics. But basically, in order to get shiny Pokemon, you need sandwiches. In order to get sandwiches, you need herba mystica. In order to get herba mystica, you need to do raids. And doing raids is a little bit tedious. They're kind of fun for the first few, but then it gets extremely repetitive. And so I decided to try and use my Switch microcontroller project, which I've used in the past to automate some other tasks, to see if I could automate Tera raids. Now, Tera raids are a lot more complicated than things that I've automated in the past, so I had to do a bunch of other stuff. But I wanted to walk you through this project just at a high level. I have a full video that explains it in the description, so you can look more there, but I'm just going to do a quick intro to this project and show you how it works. So basically, I have a microcontroller. I actually have it here, but I'm gonna set this up and show you the basics of how it works. This part is commonly used in keyboards, but I've repurposed it to work as essentially a wired Pro controller. This plugs into the Switch, this plugs into my computer. This chip communicates with this chip, allowing me to send commands from my computer through this chip and into the Switch. This is a buzzer if I want to make noise, and this is a reset button if I need to reset it quickly. And I have that here. And you'll see below me, I have my capture card hooked up. I'm actually using a real controller right now to set this up just to show you how it works. And I'm using a real Switch here. There's no emulation going on here. I have a real Switch plugged in here, and it's hooked into a capture card that goes into my computer. Okay, cool. All of that said, okay, good, came back. The way that I hook up my controller, I go into controllers, I click on change grip / order, and now I'm going to plug this controller, this USB port, into my Switch from the keyboard side. And ports on the other side. You know the old adage with USB where you plug it in the wrong way? Oh, third time's the charm. There we go. Okay, so plug that into there. It will automatically boot up. I don't know if you can see, there's a little light here, and it's going to boot into the game automatically. Now I'm going to take this other USB cable, which is going into the serial port, and I'm going to plug that into my computer. And we're good to go. Okay, so now that we have that, I can actually send commands from my Python code into the controller. So let's say we want to press the X button. You'll see that we can open the menu, press B, etc. And I can interact with the controller that way. So then what I did is I wrote a special program to take the capture card output from the game and be able to use computer vision on it. So then we look at scripts, debug screen, I think it's called. Oh, it'd be great if I could spell scripts properly. Oh, we need to attach my we attach my capture card to my virtual machine. Let me do that really quickly. So now I can read the screen from Python, and I can interact with it. So you can see this is a little debug menu that I use to figure out, pixels and colors. One particular pixel and color that I look for is the map here that tells me that I'm ready to start the program, and I do a bunch of stuff in there. That's the basic idea for this. Oops, Q to quit, right? And then from there, I wrote a bit of computer vision to basically play through a raid. And let me show you that raid program really quickly, and then we'll show you it running. So basically the way this works is I have a bunch of states. I look for particular pixels and colors, and all of this state code is stuff that I wrote myself because it originally was a bunch of loops and complicated things, but I found that the state machine was a little bit easier to manage and add features to later. But basically it allows you to do, computer, OCR text recognition. This was something that I learned for this project. I also did some cool stuff with image recognition, which I also learned with this project. I learned a bunch of stuff while building this, and I wanted to show you the output of it. Okay, here's a recording that I did earlier where it plays through the game. And you'll notice here that it has to check a bunch of pixels and has to find a bunch of stuff. And this is all happening automatically. You can see my hands here. I canceled out a terminal here. That wasn't me actually typing on it. But it basically allows me to play through raids as often as I want and continually win. Now the setup for this is I basically have one extremely strong Pokemon with a very strong move in the first slot. And the AI mostly spams A. It could be made a little bit smarter to use super effective moves or switch to different Pokemon, but I found it pretty easy to just use legendary spam strong move. And this takes a little bit while because other people have to click OK. Eventually we start. Yeah, this part took a while. There we go. Okay. So then we boot into the raid and it essentially just presses A. My program is actually smart enough to terrestrialize if it has the option. Is that how terrestrialize? I've made up word of the new Pokemon game, but I don't even know how it's supposed to be pronounced. But essentially, it's going to recognize, press A, and do a bunch of damage, and that's how it works. Eventually, at the end, it will either win or lose the raid. Most of the time, it wins, which is pretty surprising that smashing A wins most of the time, but that's the way things go. And then at the end, it eventually will get rewards somewhere in here. Yeah. Okay, defeated the Pokemon. I make sure not to catch it because I don't want to litter my boxes with these and I don't want to accidentally use my Master Ball or something on this. And then we get our rewards. This one I didn't get Herba Mystica, but I got Bottle Cap instead, which was also a rare item. And then it repeats. And that's basically how this works. And I can just run this continuously. Now, there were a lot of problems that I ran into, and I still haven't solved all of them. For instance, if I have, oh, I forgot to show you the type identification. That's kind of the coolest part. That's the thing I spent the most time on. Yeah, okay, so you can see here, the type is specified by this icon here. And the way my program works is I've actually collected images of every single type. I cut out this little square here. I normalize it to be white and black. And then I compare it against all of the type images that I already have to identify the one with the closest match. And so you can see here, it correctly identified that this is a dark type Tera raid. I want to eventually use this to select better Pokemon to beat the raids. So like right now I'm only using an electric Pokemon with an electric type attack. So if I encounter a ground type, I basically auto lose. But I could, have a Azumarill that would do really well against a ground type. Or if, I use the other legendary and I ran into a ghost, I might want to switch to the electric type instead. But there's all sorts of stuff that I'm really excited that I learned in this project, and I hope to apply this to other things as well. In theory, you could build like a full battle AI and like have real Switch AI that does online battles or something. I don't know. But this has been a fun project. I have been hyper obsessed with this over the last couple of weeks, and I'm glad to share this with you. But anyway, that's how I've automated raids, and now I have lots of Herba Mystica, so it's time for me to go shiny hunting. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good one.